Good morning, I'm Kelli Patton.
And I'm Gord Addy.
Welcome to Daybreak Fraser Valley Weekend and our salute to the 2025 Chillies episode. Gord, Shandhar Hut returns as the official taste of the Chillies, and I think that's awesome.
Yes, it's so good that we're able to come back this year, and it's an honor to be a gold sponsor and presenter for the cultural achievement at tonight's show.
Our guests this week appropriately include Mark Perry of ANDMAR, which is a major new real estate development in Chilliwack. Mark will be talking about that and tonight's Chillies Awards, which ANDMAR is a sponsor for.
We also have Krista Smith in from the Legion to discuss Remembrance Day coming up next week on Tuesday, and we have a new legal segment from Waterstone Law Group with Sheila, Evani, and Carson Davies with today's topic, purchasing a property on Indigenous land.
All right, all of this and the Fraser Valley News presented by Black Press Media coming up next. Welcome back, Gord. It is so great to have you on the program. I'm excited, but for those who don't know you yet, you do so much for the community. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Our family started our family restaurant, Shandhar Hut, in 2005. Originally, we've been living in Chilliwack since the late 70s. My grandmother worked at a cannery in Vancouver. My grandfather worked at a sawmill in Boston Bar. And they decided to move to Chilliwack because it was an hour respectfully each way. And my dad also worked at that same sawmill as my grandfather. I went to school here, went to French immersion in grade 6, ended up going to Chilliwack Middle, graduated from Chilliwack Senior in 2007. And in 2005, we had started the restaurant. We weren't really sure what would happen when we started that.
Amazing things happened.
Yeah. And as you know, my mother managed the Pizza Hut. She was there for about 16 years. And she took all that knowledge that working in a restaurant there and her home cooking, just kind of mixed it together. And we were able to launch the restaurant on June 29th, 2005. And we did no advertising whatsoever when we first started. All we did was we had that sign that we have on the street. We just put the letters OPEN, and people just came in. And ever since then, it's been 20 years. Last year, fortunately, we opened up our second location at the base of Promontory, and fortunately, that's doing very well. And we just want to show our gratitude to our community that you guys have just embraced us, and thank you for everything that you've done for us. Thank you for allowing us to be our own bosses, and we do whatever we can to pay back to the community wherever we can, whenever we can.
Absolutely. And for when there are disasters with the flooding and fires and all of those things, you always step up and you always give back. And shout out to Cam, your mom, from our Pizza Hut days. But yeah, it's a beautiful thing that's happened, and it brings community together as well. I know that for me, it's my kid's favorite restaurant. So
thank you.
I'll be there in the next week. Thanks for the introduction. I know we could do a full-scale interview, and I hope we have you back on the show so that we can really unpack and dig in a little bit. But for right now, we're going to flip over to the news from around the valley from this week, presented by Black Press Media. So starting in Abbotsford, 4 people were arrested after jumping the border from Lyndon, Washington to Abbotsford on October 8th.
This is a story first reported on by Vicky Hopes of the Abbotsford News on Monday of this past week.
A press release issued by the RCMP it said that 3 people were on foot, being pursued by U.S. Customs and Border Protection when they crossed from the area of Northwoods Road in Lyndon to Zero Avenue in Abbotsford. And on the Canadian side, there was a car waiting for the 3 individuals who, as well as the driver, were arrested and turned over to Canadian Border Services Agency.
Also in Abbotsford, Brandon Tucker reports on Abbotsford Hospital improves ailment detection with $4.96 million upgraded to the facility. A mobile MRI machine was brought to the Abbotsford Regional Hospital to continue offering patient diagnostics while the current scanner undergoes a multi-million-dollar upgrade, which is much needed.
Yeah, and we've been advocating for this for a while in the area. So Fraser Health diagnoses everything from cancer to brain abnormalities. All of this will soon become so much easier at the hospital because of almost $5 million in contributed upgrades. So in Chilliwack, from Jenna Hawk of the Chilliwack Progress, a creative new fundraiser for Chilliwack Hospital is going to have people bidding on decorated Christmas trees. Yeah.
The Festival of Trees is a fun and festive new community fundraiser where people can bring home a custom decorated Christmas tree, and all the proceeds go to raise money for Chilliwack General Hospital.
Yeah, the money raised at this inaugural gala event will see proceeds go towards buying much needed hospital equipment geared towards seniors. And it's such a great way to start the holidays, and best of all, okay, maybe second best of all after the fundraising, you don't even need to decorate your own tree.
I call that awesome.
Yeah, there's some arguments in our house about the best way to decorate. From Jennifer Feinberg, also of the Progress, there's a story about the free store Chilliwack is accepting candy donations.
They are located at their main location, 9248 Main Street, 9 to noon weekdays. If you have leftover Halloween candy, it will benefit their Social Program Development Society.
Raylene Mumford says the free store benefits approximately 4,600 families in Chilliwack that are food insecure and are in need.
This is such a great and important cause. I'm sure monetary donations are also greatly accepted. This is a good thing, as unfortunately in my household, there's no such thing as leftover candy.
All right, and finally in Langley, the Advanced Times, Shandhar reports that the season of Remembrance is upon us, with poppies popping up across Langley in advance of the 2025 Remembrance Day Parade in Aldergrove.
Sean Francis will serve as parade marshal and is a longtime Legion member. Red poppies, as you are aware, are a symbol of gratitude, remembrance, and respect for those who have served.
Thanks so much to Black Press Media and their associated and very local newspapers and journalists for their news stories from around the valley this week. And after the break, my interview with Mark Perry of ANDMAR. Welcome back. Good morning, Mark. Welcome to the show. I'm very excited to chat with you today. Your company, ANDMAR, is the title sponsor of tonight's Chillies, the Chillies Awards. How exciting is that?
It's so exciting. Yeah, it's great. It's great to have the opportunity to be able to do something like this for the arts community and theater and everybody involved. So something that we really wanted to promote alongside ANDMAR, because ANDMAR on the SARTA side is going to have the same kind of things. We're going to be able to exhibit and showcase the arts within our development.
Okay, I'm excited to hear more about that. But you're not new to awards. So just recently, you were the title sponsors for the BC Tasting Festival.
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah, was that good? Okay, so which is a Chilliwack Academy of Music fundraiser.
Yes.
So you're really giving back to community. But for people who haven't met you yet and may not be fully aware of what ANDMAR is, who are you?
Well, I'm a local real estate developer since 2008. I think I moved here. My first development within the Chilliwack area was Inglewood Village and then Inglewood Courtyard. We initially started doing Canadian retirement villages for the platinum hair-colored residents, and we then have moved on to doing things like Skynest, which is 45 and over, Malloway Village. And then again, our most recent one is ANDMAR on Promontory Road. So
it's exciting. I drive past Skynest every day, and I love it.
It's incredible. So well received.
Yeah. Okay. So then, I've always wondered, what made you decide to support the Chillies? What brings you to that journey?
Well, it's a good question, and what we wanted to do is showcase our development to Chilliwack residents and those that live beyond, to showcase we're parallel in thinking that a good community has everything, and the arts community is very important to have within our community. So here we are, and this is what we're doing, and I look forward to future working with everyone.
Awesome. So I know you said originally you started with like a retirement focus, but now you're doing like intergenerational work, right?
I am like an adult all-in, an everyone community for kids. The features and the businesses that we have within ANDMAR will provide a 15-minute city, so for location, things will be right there within the community. One of the other things that we wanted to concentrate on a lot more was showcasing that developers can build sustainable.
Yeah.
And sustainability is something that we really concentrated on, and are happy to see that our buyers really want that. And I think it's good to showcase that we can do it, and we don't have to do it the old way. So.
Absolutely. So you're talking about things like sustainability and accessibility because everything is, available, and you're talking about supporting community and the arts, and not everybody understands what developers do. So I really appreciate that you're able to share that developers kind of do everything, right?
Well, we have to kind of think what makes the best community, and we can't be lazy about it and always try and do for the best buck. We realize that a community that works has to have everything within it. So, if I'm a young couple and we have a kid, where is daycare going to be? So, we've got a fabulous daycare company that's nationwide that is going to be there for 300 children. It starts on getting the people that are integral to making a good community, and then kind of working out from there. So. Lots of thought. It may look like it comes quick and easy, but there's years before trying to figure out what we best need for it. So.
All right. So if people want to learn more about ANDMAR or even anything that you might want to or be doing in the future, how can they stay up to date?
Well, we have a Live at ANDMAR website, and we post our up-to-date news, what's going on. Whether it's community features that we want to showcase, whether it's the size of the suites, the floor plans, the work at home spaces, and prices, and we're doing at this point in time, we're doing walking tours within the community. So that's a great way to get to see what commercial tenants are going to be there. We've got a Nature's Fair grocery store, organic grocery store going in there, which really paralleled kind of our vision for what we thought was going to be a good community. Yeah. We've been in awe of what District 1881 has brought about for the downtown area, and we want to be the go-to place on the SARTA side.
On the SARTA side.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time, and huge thank you for supporting the Chillies Awards. I know you and I are both excited. Tonight, you are going to be presenting the Uber Achiever Award.
So we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, so I will see you there. Thank you so much for taking the time.
You bet.
And we will be back right after this. Welcome back. Welcome to the program, Krista Smith from the Legion. I'm very excited to have you here. It's an important week coming up for the Legion, for our community. But before we dig in, for those who don't know you, who's Krista?
Well, thank you, Kelli. Thank you so much. It's good to see you too. So I've been involved in the Legion for quite a long time. My parents were both Air Force. So that's kind of where my connection comes from. And I think if any of us in Canada go back far enough, we could find a connection to the military. But that's kind of where my connection started, and my grandfather, and I have uncles, like a lot of us. And it just, you'd go for November 11th, we would go with the family, and lots of families do that. And it just, it really stuck with me. Yep. So it's all about volunteering and helping others. And I think it doesn't matter what you do, volunteering is always good. Yeah. Whether you do it for the Legion or any other sort of place, it's a good thing to do. So
absolutely. But you're volunteering with the Legion. You're a past president as well.
Yeah. So my current role is immediate past president and PR. So I'm enjoying the PR piece. We've got new banners and different things. But I enjoy the PR piece very much because it's a little bit about education. and helping people. It's kind of all about helping people.
That's fantastic. And speaking of education, with Remembrance Day coming up, there's activities happening, and we're seeing the poppies show up. I know that you brought in some zipper pulls and a bracelet. So there's a full-blown poppy campaign, which happens every year. But can you tell folks a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people, connect it with the veterans. And we all sort of think about World War I and World War II. Mm-hmm. But I think we also have to remember there's folks out there that are in their 40s and their 50s that are veterans.
Yes.
And we have young folks over there now, young people serving in the military as peacekeepers in places like Latvia and the Ukraine. Mm-hmm. So as much as we don't really like war and we don't want to see it, we're over doing peacekeeping and different things, and it still happens, and our young folks are over there.
Absolutely.
So we have to remember it's the past, it's the present. And we also support the RCMP and their families as well.
Yeah.
So, and we support students, we support cadets, and we support youth and seniors in the community. So there's a very, big role that we play, but it's about the veterans for a lot of people, and absolutely it is, but we do for others as well.
Of course. And so the Poppy campaign raises money and goes to a really, really fantastic cause. Not only does it raise the money, but it gives you an opportunity to show your support and your respect and just remembrance and recognition of Remembrance Day, which is on Tuesday. And in Chilliwack, there are 2 ceremonies.
Well, right? Actually, yeah, there is. There's actually 3.
3.
So they do one at All Sappers Memorial Park, which is the cenotaph on Keith Wilson and Vetter. Mm-hmm. They do one at Veterans Memorial Park, which is Spadina and Maine. Mm-hmm. And we also have one out at Stalo.
At Stalo, yes.
So that's the one that I think lots of people forget, because you always think about the stone cenotaph. Mm-hmm. They have a very special cenotaph out at Stalo as well.
That's right.
So that is also something that we participate in, and that's another special one. For folks that are not able, they're not maybe as mobile and it's hard to go to those, they are doing the same thing that they've done many years in the past. For some folks, they can go into Evergreen Hall, and there will be sort of a ceremony there for some of those folks that can't be out in the weather and the elements, and aren't able to walk on get up on sidewalks and all of that. So that'll happen a little early at Evergreen. And then everybody else, if that wants to go, they can go out at usually around 10:20 if you want to get a good spot and see, all the parade that marches in. And
yeah, and then ceremony until shortly after 11. Mm-hmm. And Stalo, I believe, has food too. They have a meal offered to come together and break bread, right?
Right. So they do that in the Longhouse, and then we do that back at the branch. Same thing.
Yeah.
Back for warming up and sandwiches and light snacks and things like that.
Absolutely, and that's at the Legion branch on Better Road.
On Better Road.
And just a really important thing that, I always try to mention. So the Legion is for everyone. It used to be a little bit different, but the Legion now, it's for everyone, and it's a great atmosphere.
So even very recently, people think that, you have to be military, you have to be a veteran to get into a Legion, and it just isn't so. Mm-hmm. I was never a veteran, and I was always welcomed. I come from that kind of a family, but we have lots of folks that just want to volunteer, and they have no connection with the military. We have everybody and anybody. We love folks to come in and see what we're about and help us out, because we raise money for lots of different things in our community aside from the veterans, and we are volunteer run, so we need help. And like I say, volunteering is always good to do. It's good for the person who does it, and it helps the other organizations. We have a jam session on every second Sunday. We have musicians from 8 to 88.
Wow. Okay.
So even kids can come, right? So
that's fantastic. So that's the Legion in Chilliwack. There are Legions across the Fraser Valley. So if you're not in Chilliwack, make sure to check out your local Legion. Make sure to check out your local events, because there's Remembrance Day ceremonies across the province, across the country.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was nice. This was fun.
No, it's great. And thanks for the campaign and the work you're doing, getting the word out and education. I'm really excited, and I will see you on Tuesday.
That sounds great.
All right. We'll be right back. Very excited. We have such a treat today. With us are Sheila and Carson from Waterstone Law Group. And I'm thrilled because the topic today is all about what about if I'm buying my home on Indigenous land? And I know there's some differences here, so I'd really love to dive in and hear about why do I get a lawyer involved if I am buying a home on Indigenous land?
Yeah, so much for the same reasons that you'd want a lawyer involved early on in any sort of purchase of real estate. The same is true for purchasing a home on Indigenous or First Nation land as well. Behind the scenes, there's some key legal differences in terms of how these developments are set up and the structure and some different documentation. So it's even more important, I would say, to get those documents reviewed from the get-go and make sure you're aware of what you're buying, because there's, like I said, some key legal differences compared to purchasing a home off reserve in what we call the provincial land title system.
So one of the things that people might be used to is buying on the provincial land title system. That's probably the real estate transactions that a lot of people have been involved in so far, but in the Fraser Valley, and especially Chilliwack, there are incredible developments happening on First Nations land right now. So what are some of those key differences or some of the key things that I should know if I'm considering buying a home?
Well, the main thing is that when you're purchasing, we call it a purchase, even if it's a First Nations development, but really you are subleasing the land. So rather than you're not writing a purchase contract, there's a lease, right? So typically the developer will have the head lease, which is for an amount of time, and then individual units or parcels or whatever these homes are then subleased. So it is a bit of a different, it is definitely a different concept. So we're used to a title system, we call it freehold, where you then purchase a unit.
You own it.
And you own it,
yes.
and it's yours forever.
Yeah.
It's different on leased land, and that's not to say that it is a bad idea that you don't get to keep it forever. There's a lot of negotiation in the leases and the subleases to make sure that a buyer is protected, has kind of uninterrupted use of the leased lands, but it does cause some anxiety and nervousness amongst what does this mean for me? Like, so much of the appeal of land is that you get to keep it, you watch it appreciate. What happens? Is it the same on leased land? And what happens as the lease term starts to expire, right? If you're getting close to the end of the lease term, then is my home going to be taken away from me? These are the types of questions that are that we can help talk through and help potential buyers to kind of consider whether this would be appropriate for them or not.
Okay. So this, I think I've heard of things like 99-year leases, and that's what they'd be talking about then, is this kind of lease. It's not a 5-year. It's not a 5-year thing.
No. It's not a 5-year.
We're talking
it's
about a very
long-term
lease.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what are some other considerations then where you would talk to a lawyer if you're buying your home on Indigenous land? Because there's probably differences in mortgage and different things that you have to do as a purchaser or a leasee, but you call it a purchaser.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good question. So there's lots of lenders that are sort of understanding the legal framework for these projects on First Nation lands, but not all do understand it. So it's important, like I said, to build a team, get a mortgage broker involved, and make sure that your lender is aware that your home is on First Nation land and that they've had their lawyer sort of take a look at the documentation, which is quite standard nowadays. There's sort of a standard head lease structure and there's a standard sublease structure that sort of makes sure it includes all the important things that lenders would want to see in terms of offering a mortgage on your sublease of your home on First Nation land. Some other key legal differences as well that buyers should be aware of is the sort of legal framework. So a lot of buyers aren't aware that most of the provincial laws and City of Chilliwack bylaws or whatever city you're in don't apply to First Nation land, and lots of these bands have their own rulebook, their own laws that govern the use of your property. And so when we're advising buyers early on, it's important to understand what you're buying, but it's also important to understand once you've bought, who governs, who sets rules for your use of the property, and that's sort of a key piece of information that buyers should be aware of as well.
Yeah, so understanding what you're buying, understanding what your rights are, because it might be different than you expect if you've only had experience with more traditional real estate purchases, right?
That's
right.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more common. It's a fantastic solution to housing as well, and I know I'm excited to see it here. So what is one thing that you want viewers to take away from this conversation?
Yeah, so I think the blanket advice that we would give to anyone buying a home or on any sort of provincial land title system or First Nation interest is that get a lawyer engaged early on. there's, like I said, some key legal differences with First Nation land as well. So there's some probably more questions you should be asking, like, what am I getting? Who governs my use of the land? So it's important to ask these questions early on, really understand what you're getting into, and making sure that you're comfortable with going ahead with that home purchase.
I would say, and even just taking sort of a more broadly, what a lawyer can help you with is even just determining whether or not, ownership on a First Nations development is really appropriate for what you're looking for in terms of your
goals.
long-term goals.
Yeah.
And to determine whether you're comfortable. That I think is a very important thing for new buyers, especially.
All right. Well, reach out to a lawyer. They'll help you understand your rights, how this fits with your goals. Thank you so much for coming in today and chatting about this. And I look forward to the next time we get to dive into a topic. Welcome back. So interesting, the information that Waterstone Law Group provided on purchasing on Indigenous land.
And so many interviews today. Mark Perry of ANDMAR, Krista Smith of the Chilliwack Legion.
And you?
Yes.
That's great. Thanks to everyone for being on the program. So I know what we're both doing tonight. It's the Chillies Awards.
That's correct. That starts at 7 p.m. at the Chilliwack Cultural Center, and we'll both be on stage at one point or another, handing out some beautiful Chillies trophies.
Yeah, 14 categories in total, and there's going to be 9 performances by nominees.
This is not to be missed. There's even a Chillies after party at the Vineyard downtown, where you can party like a rock star with the nominees until the wee hours.
Until the wee hours. All right. I will do my best. So what else are you up to this weekend? Anything?
Well, more work.
More work?
Lots of work.
All right. Well, I'm excited. My kiddos are coming home
Right.
from university for reading week, and I know right at the top of their list is going for lunch at Shandhar Hut.
Let's go. Discounts on me.
So let's move on to what else is happening around the valley. And in Abbotsford, it's the Fraser Valley Writers Festival at UFE on King Road, starting tonight, 7 till 9 p.m., and continuing tomorrow, Saturday, all day long, 8 a.m. to 4:15 p.m. That's a lot of writing.
Yeah. There will be keynote speakers, Charles Demers and Evelyn Lau, and panels of workshops for everyone. Also of note, this is completely free and open to everyone. A great opportunity if you're just getting into writing or want to mix it up literary style.
Mix it up literary style. Yeah. Okay, or on Friday, you can enjoy the Art of Influence in what is described as a luxury wine and art networking gala, which I think checks a lot of boxes. This is from 6 to 8:30 p.m. and will be held at the Reach Gallery Museum on Veterans Way.
Right on. In Chilliwack, well, we've already talked about the Chillies and the arts, but on Sunday, why not shift to sports and go catch a Chilliwack Chiefs game at the Coliseum, where they'll face the Surrey starting at 6 p.m.
Excellent, excellent. In Langley tomorrow. Now, I'm going to say the word, so just trigger warning. It isn't Christmas until you visited the North Otter Winter Market. I can't believe I said Christmas before Remembrance Day. Yeah. So Saturday from 10 till 3 at the North Otter Elementary School on 248th Street, there are 50 plus vendors and arts and crafts.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's allowing you to pick that perfect gift and really, really early.
Excellent.
Yeah, probably gives you a bit of time to wrap the present too. Admission is by donation.
In Mission on Sunday, if you have to check out Toe, which is a Japanese acoustic band that will be playing at Clark Theatre on Prentice Avenue, they play guitar and accordion along with the vocals. It is a free show, but space is limited, and that starts at 7:30 p.m.
All right, well, that appears to be it for our recommendations for the weekend.
Don't forget to get out to the Remembrance Day ceremonies in your communities. It is so important for us to remember the sacrifices made by so many in the past.
Absolutely. Gord, it's Chillies Day, and I know we have a lot to get ready and so much getting ready ourselves before tonight's show. So I think we'd better bid adieu and let people get to work as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I hope we get to see all of you tonight if you're going to the Chillies. And in the meantime, have a very happy Fraser Valley weekend.
Adios.